want to say, how are you doing over there? And it's my pleasure to be on the show this very hour. Thank you so very much, my host.
Before we start the discussion, engineer, AEO.
Yes,
Can you just give us the full meaning of that word AEO? Engineer AEO Oyedele.
All right. Is my initial. A is for Ayodele. Okay. E is for Emmanuel. And O there is Olayinka Onishayo.
Okay. Ayodele Emmanuel Olayinka Onishayo.
Yes.
Okay, Oyedele. You are welcome on the podcast once again.
It's a pleasure, sir.
I want us to quickly deal with that topic. Talking about challenges to fire safety management in present age. And I want to believe by the time we will be through with today's episode of this podcast, a lot will have been gained by our viewers talking about fire safety management. Let's start this way. Engineer, when we are talking about fire safety management, what do we really mean?
All right, thank you, my host. Fire safety management is just a simple terminologies we use for systematic approach to preventing or to mitigate fire hazard. So when we talk about hazard, accident, and incident that is resulted from mismanagement or fire incident in any organization, and this is needed to be looked into to ensure the safety of people, the occupant of that particular properties, then the properties and the environment where we live in. So how do we manage the systematic approach to managing or to mitigate fire hazard in any environment we find ourselves? So that's just what we can capture in that particular topics, fire safety management.
I love the way you have put it, engineer. A layman will really understand in a simple term that you have put it what fire safety management is. And let me recap it. All you have said now, if I want to put it in one statement, is it means it's just to make sure that there is no fire outbreak. Am I right?
Definitely. We want to prevent, we prevent, and also if peradventure there is, then we manage it.
Okay. Oh, good. That's right. True. That is, it doesn't happen. And if it happens, what do we do?
We're able to manage so that it won't be so disastrous.
Oh, fine. So, okay, let's talk about how do we manage fire? Or is it, well, let me start with, is it possible to manage fire?
Well, it's possible. It's possible. There's nothing that is not possible.
Okay. So how do we manage it?
Fire management has been an issue where people like urban planners, buildings managers, and probably let me say even the public safety officers has really been looking to. Okay, and then even at this very period of technology advancement, we open ourselves to much more scenarios of fire outbreak. But there are things, the protocols, or what we call the approach, that can be put on board during the design, during the implementation, during the management of the devices or gadgets we have at home that will help us to be able to avoid fire incidents. And peradventure, such happen, there are some first aid that we can really put on board before we can now call those who have been trained to be able to curtail or extinguish such a problem. So fire can be it can be prevented if we put all the logistic approach that is supposed to be done. Humanly speaking, then technological adherence and some other factors that has to do with it. So fire can definitely be managed.
Okay, and this is where we are really going today, because we are in a tech age. Definitely, there is nothing we can do about that. We are in a modern age. A lot of things are happening, talking about technology advancement here and there. And a lot of, like I said at the beginning of this episode of this podcast, a lot of uh talking about construction technology coming out, a lot of even building materials innovations coming out, and things like that. And don't you think is posing a real challenge when it comes to fire safety management, engineer? Or let me
Of
just
course.
let, let me just put it straight to you. What are the challenges to fire
All
safety
right.
management, especially in this tech
All
age?
right.
So let's
Tech
start
age,
from there.
all right. Thank you
Yes.
so very much. There is not such a thing that has an advantage that doesn't have the disadvantage. So that's why it's a pros and
Mm.
cons is
Mm-hmm.
what
Definitely.
make up the life. So risk management is one of the things we have to look out for in preventing. So I will categorize this into the challenges. Basically, there is what the model put that there are precedents and there is also succeedents. Okay, so there are how we do things before. So I'll categorize them under the traditional fire safety strategies. Okay, what has been done before that has helped those who have lived before us to have even to contain such. Then what can be done in our own present age, as we call it tech age. So that is categorized under what we call the modern safety strategy. Okay, but let's look at those challenges one by one. I have about 8 of them that I'll quickly mention. Then
Okay.
we later discuss them one after the other. So one of the major challenges is urbanization. We can't shine away from it. Population density. So everybody wants to migrate to where things are happening. And yet, so before you look at it, a particular area has been, overpopulated. People want to live in Abuja. Everybody wants to be in Lagos. Everybody be in Port Harcourt, where it seems many things are happening. Okay, so overpopulated now, there is no much space to accommodate as many people as there. Then we tend to build high-rising buildings so that they can accommodate more offices, more industry, and whatever. And then the segregation of areas for industrial places, residential places are now interwoven. So we are building industry among the residence area, among the industrial areas, and whatever. So we are open up to fire hazard more than ever before. Okay. Another one is technology advancement. As we have already said, we are in the tech age. So technological advancement, there are so many things that we are innovating and we are incorporating into buildings now. So which are tends to lead to fire hazard. Then another thing is over dependent of technology. It's not a record science. It's not a record science at all. So technology can fail at any time due to so many reasons. So over reliance, over development, dependent on technology can also cause a challenges. Then another factor is evolving building design. Our building design now are incorporating so many things, so many material like polystyrene material you may mention the other time. There are some materials that are very extinguished in nature that can quickly catch fires that we are incorporating in our design. Then most often design now doesn't even look into the area of M&E, the mechanical and the electrical aspects. So far they have done the structural design. They were good to go. They bring work, so to say, to come and look into that area. So the evolving building design is also one of the posting challenges. So another challenge I was able to, look into is the area of human factor and climatic change. Human factor in the sense that nonchalancy attitude of the people, the personnel involved, or situation we are in Nigeria now, economic factor. People does things or work absent-mindedly. People economics has really eaten deep into Nigerians that we quickly forget things or overlook some things. That is part of the human factor. Then socio-economic factor is also another factors that are affecting or cause fire outbreak. Okay. Then we can also talk about regulations agency. Then how does people compliance to code and conduct of fire? Okay. Then enforcement is also another factors we can talk about. How does people enforce the agency, how did they enforce the law and the do and don't that related to this. Then also agency connection or coordination between the agency that involved into risk, fire risk management, how do they interrelate and how do they form a synergy. So those are the factors that are really considered as being a challenge to fire safety management in this technological age. Okay. Then, having highlighted this, there is a need for us to look into how can we break this down. So what are the implications of these highlighted challenges? Okay. So I wouldn't know. Should I just go there straight now, or be able to answer your question?
In short, I was about asking that question. That all that we have listed, the 8 challenges that we have listed, that we cannot do without. I think those are even the major challenges when it comes to fire safety management. But before you start highlighting, I will want us to go on a very short break. We'll go on a very short break now. So by the time we come back, my guest is going to highlight those highlighted challenges. Then he's going to tell us the implications, and most important, what are the ways, or how do we solve all these challenges? Because you know us on this podcast, the Bedrock with Farinloye, we don't talk about issues without giving solutions. About problems without giving solutions. So we go on a very short break now, and by the time we are back, we talk further on those highlighted challenges, and we also talk about the solutions. So don't touch the dial. We'll soon be back, and you can start sending in your comments via the comment section, sending your contribution, sending your questions, and some other things you want us to know about. Sending through the comment section. We'll soon be back. Just a short break. Don't change it.
Bedrock is an online program with Farinloye, your engineer on radio. And on this program, engineer Farinloye, your engineer on radio, and other building professionals will come together to provide solutions to issues that are related to construction, engineering, real estate, security, and built environment in general, with the intention of some people live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. Join us on Facebook Live every Friday by 4 p.m. on the Bedrock with Farinloye Facebook page. For sponsorship and adverts or inquiries, please call 070-31-37-37-69. Once again, 070-31-37-37-69. The Bedrock on Facebook Live. Join us now and learn from building professionals. Tegri Associate Limited is a registered company with the capacity to give you the best of services. Tegri Associates Limited, in a wide range of areas ranging from design, costing, construction, site supervision, development and delivery of homes and public infrastructures. Our team of construction professionals offers a single source solution for all construction related needs, be it restoration, site preparation, facility or infrastructure renovation and the likes. We are also into real estate. We have the experience and personnel to provide the highest quality construction on schedule and within budget. We support clients from project inception to the commissioning of the fully operational facility, transforming clients' dreams into reality, and offer deep professional advices in arriving at the best possible results. Client satisfaction is our ultimate goal, and we serve with integrity and focus. Tegri Associate Limited is registered with CAC red number 6978970. Head office 30 Olufemi Ajayi Street, College Bus Stop, Ifakuijaye, Lagos State. Osun State Office House 31 Ifesowapo Quarters, Zone 6 Agric, Opa, Ilefe, Osun State. Telephone 091-6619-3114. Website www.tegriassociateltd.com.ng.
Yes, our viewers, we are back. This is still the Bedrock with Farinloye, and I'm glad to tell us that I still have my guest on the podcast for today. It's no other person but engineer AEO Oyedele, who is a lecturer in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Osun State Polytechnic, Ire. is in Nigeria. And I still remain my humble self, Michael Omowale Farinloye. Like I said before we went on that short break, you can start sending in your comments, sending your contribution, and we will do justice to any questions that you are sending. And okay, without wasting our time, let's just continue with what we are discussing. For the past few minutes now, we have been discussing about challenges. Yes, challenges to fire safety management in present age. This modern age that we are now, there are so many challenges, and I'm happy the way our guest has really dealt with highlighting those challenges for us, challenges to fire safety management, the way he has really highlighted it. And now we want to go into what are the implications of these highlighted challenges, and we also look at how do we solve it. But before we do that, engineer, I want to ask this
Yes,
question,
sir.
although that's not where we it's not our main concern for today. Talking
All
about
right.
fire safety management, what we are concerned today is the challenges that have been faced when we are managing fire. That's what
Fire.
we are concerned today. But I want to ask, who are the people in charge of managing fire? Who are the people in charge? Or let me say,
All right.
what
As
the
far as
body in charge?
agency,
The
okay.
agency in charge,
Uh,
yes.
uh, yeah, thank you. The Federal Fire Service are the authorized agency in charge of managing fire, and they are under the Ministry of Interior. Okay, so at the national level, at the federal level, those are the Federal Fire Service. Okay, but they also have arm in each state of the federation, and those are the state fire service. They are located in each capital of each state. Then also they are ought to uh, be a fire brigaders in each local government. If local government are fully in operations, they are supposed to be fire brigaders in each local government who sees to immediate response to any such a fire outbreak at each local government. And at the state level, the state fire service operates there. Then we have the national body who are the fire service, federal fire service, under the Ministry of Interior.
Thank you. I just use this to educate our viewers, because some of our viewers might be looking at, okay, who are the people that are to manage fire? And like you have rightly informed us now, I think it's noted. Although it's very unfortunate, but it's not for today's discussion. A lot of misappropriation is happening in those aspects, but it's not for today's discussion.
All right, this is Nigeria.
But engineer, you said this is Nigeria. Those who
No,
are
we can't shine away from it.
those who are doing it right and are not from heaven, they are not angels. But I pray that God will help us.
It will help us. It will help our system.
It will help our system. The system needs to be touched.
Complete overhauling.
Complete overhauling. Holistically, we need to do something about the system. I pray that God will help us. And that's one of the purpose for this podcast, the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. Now we are highlighting the challenges to fire safety management. We are not just saying it for fun, but we know that some necessary bodies, we take it up from where we can advocate it, the level we can advocate it to, we take it up. So, okay, very quickly, let's continue. Talking about all these challenges, what are the implications? And back to our topic for today, fire safety management. You have highlighted some challenges. Then what are the implications of all these highlighted challenges?
All right, thank you, my host. It's a pleasure being here one more time. From those about 7 or 8 challenges I haven't mentioned earlier, Each of them posted several, implications on fire outbreak or fire curtailings or extinguish. Okay, so let me pick them from number one. I've mentioned that that's urbanization. We can't shine away from it. When some areas were overpopulated than the area capacity can really accommodate, it leads to so many issue of high-rise building. Okay, and people really complex infrastructure, mix of residentials with commercials with industrial zone, so which are supposed to be in a separate area. So if this place is residential, good. This area is commercial, good. This area is industrial zone, but we are mixing them up, and this leads to increased potential of fire outbreak. Okay, so then not only that, when there is a fire outbreak in one way or the other, there is a complication in evacuation procedure. How do we evacuate? Then escape route. Okay, there's no much incorporated into our design in the area of what escape route in and out. So in case there is a fire outbreak. So not only that, urbanization also brings about difficulty in ensuring that everybody are fully aware or responsible or comply with the fire safety protocols. Okay, so how do we hold people responsible for the do and don'ts as far as preventing fire outbreak is concerned? So urbanization is not really helping, except it's being well looked into and well enacted to be able to ensure that people comply with the needful thing. Then another factor make mention
before you go to the next factor, engineer, before you go to the next factor, talking about urbanization, and I love the way you put it that we need to look into it very well. I also want to say this in the areas of design too. I think a lot needs to be done about that, because this high-rise building we are talking about is not only in Africa that we have high-rise building. Not only even in Africa, not to talk of Nigeria. You understand? All over the world we have high-rise building, and there are ways it's being done. I think our designs needs to be looked into to be able to cater for all this. I don't know the way you look at it.
Well, it is good. It's one of the ways of managing the land property or whatever. Okay, but that has to be factored in from the design. Okay, all that needs to be functioned in with the design. Then all we are talking about the complex infrastructure, they needed to be looking so that during even the occupant, and then the way the exit, coming in and the going out, or peradventure the way out if there is a fire outbreak, will have been incorporated during the design. And then the occupant was to be well educated, and that's what we call fire drill. So in case there is a fire outbreak, what is going to be our first response. So most often times, most occupants were not well trained, so they leave this into the hand of securities or whatever. We are still going to get there during the course of look at the implications of this highlighted point.
Okay. Oh yeah, let's go on.
Okay, so the second one I made mention was this technology advancement. Okay, so technology advancement is good. So as we have pros, we have cons. Like I said the other time, to every advantage there is also it comes with its own disadvantage. Okay, so the high use or increase in what we call electronics, modern building technologies, they were packed with a lot of electronics device that they can come to what we call overheating. There can be a tendency of malfunctioning, and all this leads into fire outbreak. Okay, so when even during the design, probably the design is defective, they use not accurate wiring. Okay, for right application. So when those gadgets, those electronics are overheated, they might lead into outbreak, or there is a power surge. They might lead to fire outbreaks. Okay, then we don't often look into the fire suspension system. Fire suspension systems, the integration of either automations, fire suspension system, like what we call it now, fire detector, okay, like fire alarm. So they comes with this. So we have to look into that area. What minutes did they post on the fire outbreak? Okay. So then not only installing them, how regular are we maintaining them? And that's one of the challenges we have in Nigeria, the maintenance structure. So that will look into the sustainability of that particular gadget we have incorporated. Then, like I mentioned the other time, over dependent on technology. That's what we call the IoT, okay, Internet of Things. So when we incorporate them, there's a tendency for the internet facility to be, experience what we call cyber attack or malfunctioning at a point in time, which will result also into fire outbreak. Then I also make mention of evolving building design. Everybody wants to design something nice, something this, something that, whatever. Is good. Definitely is good. Architectural drawings can be so fascinating, and then, but we have to look after how will this not result into fire outbreak. So when
how it will function, as in functionality.
And then, so how will it be functioned? Then how will it be maintained for sustainability? So when we construct a tall buildings, and then we are not looking into the fire suspension system, because that is a very aspect that we have to look closely into, the fire suspension system. Okay, so the use of new construction materials like polystyrenes and so many other gadgets, electronic gadgets that has been newly invented. So how do we incorporate them into our design? So some of them can be so flammable. They can attract, and then before you close your eyes and open it, fire has really outburst. Okay, so this poses some challenges to a kind of constraint into what we are looking to. Then another factors make mention of that time, make mention of climatic change. Okay, although that might not even pose more challenge here. Okay, like the other other foreign country. Like, I was just looking at some videos not quite long where someone is making a call and there was a thunder and that busted into fire outbreak. Okay, so some of us probably this is a rainy season. When there's a heavy rain, there are some heavy equipment that we just have to let them be during that heavy rain. So there might be a climatic change where there's a thunder, there's a lightning, there's a weather change, which an occupant should just pay a close attention to, so that we don't have them resorted into a fire outbreak. And then another thing is over-labor our appliances and our equipment, okay, than what they normally needed to do. Like we have some of the occupants who never even put off their AC. Either there is light or not, they will put it on. So when we over-labor most of this equipment and they get heated up, so there is a tendency that it results into fire outbreak. So another factor I make mention on is also socioeconomic factor. The economics and the social dynamics is another factor in safety management, in fire safety management.
It's a very big factor.
Definitely. So when people cannot even afford, or they can planning or maintainability of the gadget they have put in their property, in their edifice. Okay. So then when we have overcrowding of facilities, okay, the facility that's supposed to occupy so number of gadgets, when they were overcrowded, so there's a needed, it might result into fire outbreak. Okay. Then resources constraint under socioeconomics. When people are they cannot access the resources needed for maintainability of the gadgets in their residence. So that will also pose another problems and leads to fire outbreak. Then affordability of public awareness, because people needed to unlearn to relearn especially this tech age, new development. Now, this tech age, our old buildings, we want to incorporate new gadgets into the old buildings so that they're able to maintain the necessary code for fire outbreaks and the likes. So people needed to be well oriented, and then so public awareness supposed to be enact for the general populace regarding the safety protocols and the safety practice that is invoked now. Okay. Then another factors I make mention of that time is the regulatory body. Okay, how are this regulatory body functioning? Are they not compromising standard? Are they not compromising in the way they're supposed to enact the law and the code and conduct that pertaining to, I was reading an article that in the olden days, when they do the installations of electrical installation in the house, we have the regulatory body who will go to that place to go and inspect and check if the wirings were good enough, if all they maintain the normal things that are supposed to be there before they now approve. But nowadays, you just go to their what they call in the office and everything is approved and signed. So the regulatory body, then the compliance on the part of the user also is another challenges that we have to look at. So if the regulating body are doing their own and they are enacting laws, they are looking what are on the part of the users, how compliant are we? Okay, so that is another issue. Then if we are not compliant, what is the enforcement medium by which we ensure the users are complying to the needful, compliance to the needful. So on the part of the regulatory body and enforcement. Then there ought also to be a synergy between the agencies that are involved, okay, like I mentioned at that time, from the federal, from the state, from the local government, and some other affiliated agency or somebody who are just doing, a volunteer services in contains the menace of this such a fire outbreak. Okay, there must be a synergy, what we call the interagency coordination. So which ought to be very effective. Then also, as I made mention of resources constraint, even on the part of this agency we are talking about, when there is a fire outbreak here and they call so number, call emergency number, call this, call that, what is there? Are they prompt in response? What has been the issues? There is no the vehicle on ground, there is no fuel, there is no water, there is no this, there is no that. So we have some a kind of resources constraint. So these are the challenges. Safety organizations, they operate under tight budget. So how is the allocation getting to them for them to be able to get ready, what is needful? Because their own is just like an alert. Immediately they come, everything's supposed to be be a ready-made issue. So as much as they get a call, a clarion call, they pick up their gadget and they are supposed to be there. Not that when the call is being made, that is when they will be, getting themselves ready. But we have a limitation in terms of their budget, and then in terms of training, human capacity, equipment, personnel. So those are some of the challenges we are hoping to. And then I also mentioned the other time that are human factor, okay, over dependence on technology is another issue. So when people will say, okay, I've installed fire detector, I've installed this and whatever, there should be a maintenance that is supposed to be, be done over and over. So these are some of the challenges, implications from these challenges we are practically said in this tech age that the fire management has really imposed on us. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And talking about all these challenges, so some of it are pertaining to we the citizen, some are pertaining to government, talking about government agency. I think some of our professional bodies also have their own take of it. Am I right, engineer?
Of course. Yeah, because, you are very much right. Ensure people are compliant. Compliance.
We professional bodies, our professional bodies need to improve in that aspect too. And although before we end this discussion, I still want to take us to another aspect before we end it, so that our engineer will talk about that before we bring the episode to a close. But before I go there, let us quickly talk about solutions to all these challenges. Engineer, you have made mention of so many of all these challenges. You have explained it to us, and one of the ones I really pick is periodic maintenance of our gadget. Periodic maintenance of our gadget. So many things that we suppose take into consideration and do the right thing, make correction where it is needed. That's why I said what you engineers just highlighted for us have to do with both the government agency, with this citizen, that is talking about the public, and also the professional bodies. And okay, very quickly, let us talk about the solution to all these challenges. Engineer.
All right, thank you, my host. It's a pleasure one more time. To every problem, as engineers we provide solution.
Definitely.
So, and we look into the risk management of fire outbreaks. So we tend to provide solution. Those things are what really resulted into fire outbreaks several times, beside other natural factors. Okay, now some of these problems we have highlighted can be curtailed from the onset by look into some fire safety measure. Okay, like if you are in in an office building, you can install what we call a fire alarm. We can have fire detector. We can have a fire sprinkler. Okay, so all these are what we call fire suspension system. So this system comes either in automations or manual. They can come automatically. So when they detect a fire or smoke, whatever, they quickly switch into actions and to be installed. So responding. So we have smoke detector, okay, fire alarm. Then this must not only just to install, it must be tested and ensure they can provide the required service, and not only tested, there should be maintenance, regular maintenance to check if they were very at the state of proper functioning. Okay, then there must be an interconnection between all these gadgets and the lights. Okay, then not only that, in our design, there must be now what we call emergency exit. Emergency exit should, in case, I often discuss with all my mentor, and he said even in olden days when they do burglary, they will put an escape route in that burglary with an inches, so that should in case there is a fire outbreak and everywhere where is blocked, whatever, it can quickly make use of those from the burglary. And that person was just discussing with that they meant it for that, but there was a time when the big boys came, and then the owner of that room, of that particular residence, used that as an escape route. So this was not a fire outbreak. Now it was an incident of the big boys who came visiting in the night. And then that's all. So there must be an emergency exit.
It's not for great.
It's work for any emergency.
Any emergency, yeah. I love that. Any emergency.
So that should be, we have to look into that in our design, okay? So there may be room for emergency exit. And then we can also put the signal or a sign, a kind of illumination. So when there's a problem there, you're quickly able to identify it. This is the emergency route where people can just make use of. Then there is what we call evacuation route also, where people can quickly evacuate one or two very sensitive properties within the outbreak. So when there's fire outbreak, you can quickly look at one or two, whatever, which can be evacuated from the building. So it's not only the life, we're talking about safety management. So it's not only the life, we want to maintain, ensure safety of property and also environment, okay? Then in our residence or factories or buildings, we're supposed to have what we call fire extinguishers. fire extinguishers. Okay, even in just residentials, ideally, there are how many households can be both that they have fire extinguishers, and then there ought to be a fire extinguisher even in the kitchen, and even primitively, they often recommend there should be 3 fire extinguishers in each house. However, you can put one in the front of the house, one in the kitchen, and probably one at the back side of the house. So prevention if any occupant is not available when there is a fire outbreak. So the residents around can quickly make use of the fire extinguisher in the front to, curtail the menace of fire outbreak, or the one from the back. But Nigerian factor now, if you put one in the front of your house before you come back from there, they will have you to relocate it.
Within 24 hours. And if it is to relocate,
even pose another challenge of fire outbreak.
If it is to relocate it, it's still better. You won't find it again. Oh yeah, let's go on.
Actually, that was
fun. I understand you.
So they will take it from where it is and.
Okay.
So that's another area. Okay. Then training of people to make use of this fire extinguisher. Okay. If you have one at home, train all the occupants of that particular residence or major occupants. Okay, that are involved in that particular area. Then one of the things that I haven't said that a key area is the electrical gadgets, electrical safety. That we have to look into that. You talk about equipment, the personality, whatever, electrical wiring. Okay, most of the wirings, if they don't use a pure, what do you call it, pure copper, it's going to result into problems when we use inferior materials, substandard materials. Okay, so it's going to cause problems. So we should ensure that in our electrical wiring at home, we use correct and standard materials. Okay, in our equipment using at home, we must ensure the proper usage of our gas cooker and our electric cooker. Some of us who are using gas cooker, you just put off the gas, the cooker, without switch off the gas from the container. Okay, so that has even happened to me. My wife sometimes that. So when I get to kitchen, before I leave house, I'll move around and check everything, whatever. So they just switch off the cooker without switching off the gas container. So this has to be looked into. Then in our building, we're supposed to incorporate or install what we call the thunder arrestor. Thunder arrestors, so which supposed to be fixed. Okay. Then there's in every building, that's what we call the earthing. Okay, the building must be earthed and properly earthed with proper. They require copper thickness that will be able to help in the area of electrical, installations and the like. So the house must be earthen. Okay, then the wire that will be used for our electrical installation must be the accurate one, in the sense that we'll be able to carry the load that particular properties of edifice will be subjected to. Not that we will now bring another load that is not fashioned in the design of the M and E. Are you getting it now?
Yes.
But eventually, God just bless me now. During the design of my building, I can only just fashion 2 AC, probably 1 horsepower AC. And God bless me, I have about 4 bedrooms. And I said, wow, good. God has blessed me. Let me just bring some other AC without looking into what has been designed. So that might lead to overloading and might lead to fire outbreak. So then, not only that, those of us who are using stove at home is another factor we have to look into. Okay, stove, where there's petrol, all those what we used to cook at home is another factor that leads to fire outbreaks. So which you have to ensure the proper usage of it. Then some of our women, we have to talk to them, educate them about using of phone in kitchen while they were cooking. Some receive phone while they were cooking. Some are listening to music while they were cooking. Some are, they were chatting, doing TikToks or whatever, just to keep themselves busy while they were cooking. So they have to be re-educated. Okay, so that do one thing at a time for the safety of your life and property. If you are cooking, face cooking. If you want to do Facebooking, calling, whatever, go and attend to that
Yeah,
before you
they are
return back to
listening. They are listening. And watching us.
before you return back to teaching. Okay, so that is another factor that we have to look into. Okay, then that's what we call fireproofing materials under construction. So we can use our fire resistant material for wall.
Okay.
Okay, fire resistant, like you make mention of polystyrene
The
the other time.
polystyrene wall, yes. Okay.
So the wall, the ceiling, the door. This is tech age. So there is fireproofing materials that are able to, if there is fire outbreak, it will not go beyond a particular confined area, which that has really. So this can help majorly in our kitchen. Those of us who use a gadget that are well encompassing in our kitchen. Okay. Then that's what we call emergency lighting. We can install emergency lighting, so that will guide the occupant during outage, or when there is a low supply of energy. So emergency lighting that will be able to boom. So when it's blinking, you'll be able to know there is emergency. Probably there is over supply of energies or under supply, low outage. Okay, so
yes, our viewers, we won't be able to go more than this. Our guest is no more on the podcast, but I believe he has been able to take us through that very topic, challenges to fire safety management in present age. And I want to encourage us, like I usually say, we should always go back and rewatch all this episode. Rewatch, and you have a lot of things to gain. It talks about what fire safety management is, and he'll tell us we possible to manage fire, even tell us some of the agencies that are responsible to manage just this fire. Then talking about challenges to fire safety management, he was able to highlight some of these challenges and tell us the implication of these challenges. And he has also tell us so many of the solutions to all these challenges. One time to rewatch this episode. And some other time, if I'm opportune to bring our guests once again, that's Engineer E.O. Oyedele, aka Onishayo. I want him to come up and advise us on how we need to improve on our fire management, especially the fire management teams. They need improvement. We cannot just shy away from this truth. They need improvement. What are the ways we can go about it to manage our fire team in Nigeria in particular? We need to just improve on all these fire management issue, as it highlighted in some of these challenges. By the time you call a firefighter to come up and rescue a fire outbreak, and at the end of the day, they begin to tell stories. There is no water, there is no, the vehicle is not in good condition. We need to just improve it in this. So once again, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our guest for today, Engineer E.O. Oyedele, also known as Onishayo. He's a current registered mechanical engineer. He's a member of so many engineering society, including NSC, that's Nigerian Society of Engineers, and he's a lecturer in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Osun State Polytechnic Ire. Ire is in Osun State, Nigeria. I so much appreciate him, and I want to also use this opportunity to appreciate all our viewers. You have taken your time again to join us on this podcast for this week episode, and I want to encourage us to also be part of our next week episode when we meet again next Friday, the same time. That's 4 p.m. West African time. You can keep on sending in your comments, sending in your questions, sending your contribution. and we want remarks from you so that we will be encouraged. You need to encourage us so that we'll be able to go far on this podcast, The Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. And this is where I will be calling it a day on today's episode until we meet next week, Friday again, 4 p.m. West African time. I remain your host, your engineer on radio, Michael Omowale Farinloye. Till next week, when we'll meet again, stay blessed.
Bedrock is an online program with Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio. And on this program, engineer Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio, and other building professionals will come together to provide solutions to issues that are related to construction, engineering, real estate, security, and built environment in general, with the intention of some people live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. Join us on Facebook Live every Friday by 4 p.m. on the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye Facebook page. For sponsorship and adverts or inquiries, please call 070-31-37-37-69. Once again, 070-31-37-37-69. The Bedrock on Facebook Live. Join us now and learn from Tagri Associate Limited is a registered company with the capacity to give you the best of services. Tagri Associates Limited in a wide range of areas ranging from design, costing, construction, site supervision, development and delivery of homes and public infrastructures. Our team of construction professionals offers a single source solution for all construction related needs, be it restoration, site preparation, facility or infrastructure renovation and the likes. We are also into real estate. We have the experience and personnel to provide the highest quality construction on schedule and within budget. We support clients from project inception to the commissioning of the fully operational facility, transforming clients' dreams into reality, and offer deep professional advices in arriving at the best possible results. Client satisfaction is our ultimate goal, and we serve with integrity and focus. Tagri Associate Limited is registered with CAC red number 6978970. Head office 30 Olufemi Ajayi Street, College Bus Stop, Ifakuijaye, Lagos State. Osun State Office, House 31, Ifesowapo Quarters, Zone 6, Agric, Opa, Ilefe, Osun State. Telephone 091-66-19-3114. Website www.tagriassociateltd.com.ng.